بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد كرمنا بني آدم وحملناهم في البر والبحر ورزقناهم من الطيبات وفضلناهم على كثير ممن خلقنا تفضيلا. يوم ندعو كل أناس بإمامهم فمن أوتي كتابه بيمينه فأولئك يقرؤون كتابهم ولا يظلمون فتيلا. ومن كان في هذه أعمى فهو في الآخرة أعمى وأضل سبيلا. وإن كادوا ليفتنونك عن الذي أوحينا إليك لتفتري علينا غيره وإذا لاتخذوك خليلا. ولولا أن ثبتناك لقد كدت تركن إليهم شيئا قليلا إذا لأذقناك ضعف الحياة وضعف الممات ثم لا تجد لك علينا نصيرا. وإن كادوا ليستفزونك من الأرض ليخرجوك منها وإذا لا يلبثون خلافك إلا قليلا. سنة من قد أرسلنا قبلك من رسلنا ولا تجد لسنتنا تحويلا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين خالق السماوات والأرض إلها واحدا أحدا صمدا لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين طه وياسين بالقاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين ورحمة الله على محبيهم ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقاتليهم وغاصب حقوق حقهم ومنكر فضائلهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتبارك في كتابه الحكيم وفرقانه المجيد وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى. صلوات على محمد وعلى محمد صلى على محمد وعلى أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بالحسين عليه السلام. Respected sisters and brothers, my youngsters, my elders, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon all of you. We convey condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam al-Hujjah, the Prophet of Islam, the family of the Prophet and believers all over the world on these days that are leading up to the Shahadat of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam and his companions and his family members. As we are coming to the close of our discussion, as you have seen, we've got a challenging topic, and of course I have not been able to do justice to it. For that I seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from all of you. All we've been able to do is discuss and just skim the top of the Ziyarat-e-Waritha that I had selected as the topic of discussion, as the thesis for these days, whereby the Imam is acknowledged as the successor, as the Warith of all the previous prophets, as well as the Holy Prophet and Amirul Mu'mineen. So we say, as we had left off yesterday, Assalamu alayka ya Waritha Isa Ruhillah, Assalamu alayka ya Waritha Muhammadin Habibillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I'm going to put two of the ayats together, two of the verses of the ziyarah together, whereby we also say, Assalamu alayka ya Waritha Amir al-Mu'minina Waliyallah. And the reason why I wanted to put this together is that there is a inseparable bond, a special bond between Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen. Not only did the Prophet acknowledge Imam Ali when he was assigning brotherhood to all of them between the Ansar and the Muhajirs, and was giving special status to each of them with one another. When he left Amir al-Mu'mineen on his own, he said that Ali ibn Abi Talib is my brother, he is my Khalifa, he is my representative, he is going to be my successor. So he had mentioned all of that in the early days. So the bond was very dear and close to the Holy Prophet of Islam. That's why in today's discussion, I will put it together. But instead of going into what I have done in the past prophets' lives and the lessons we have learned, I'm going to today, inshallah, in light of these verses of the ziyarah, take you on a little bit of a journey. You want to come with me on a trip, inshallah, today? Hajj Ahmad will wonder, he says, no, we have to stay here in the Masjid Imam Ali, right? We can't leave anywhere, Brother Shafeeq. No, I'm not going to take you on that kind of a journey. You don't need an airport, you don't need an airplane, you don't need a boarding pass, you don't need a bus ticket or anything. I'm taking you on a different kind of a journey. A journey that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to His beloved Habib. But towards the end I will also mention how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a certain journey to the believers as well, based on the authority of the Holy Prophet. So now you want to come with me on the trip, inshallah? Let's have one loud salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Yesterday, very briefly, I mentioned that somebody who wants to meet Imam Sahib al-Umar, Imam al-Hujjah, Jalallah Ta'ala Dhuruhu Sharif, one of the amal that is encouraged to do. And inshallah, because like I said, I'm coming to the end now, and so today and tomorrow I'll be basically doing a summation of everything that I have tried to talk about. And also because tomorrow I have a little extra time, inshallah, and this time I'm not joking, I'm serious. The little extra time that I have will give me an opportunity to also remind myself and the respected sisters and brothers who are here about what is our responsibility to Imam al-Hujjah right now. What should we be doing? What is our duty and our responsibility? So I'll be inshallah summarizing that. But last night, being Laylatul Jum'ah, I had mentioned one of the things that we can do if we want to meet the Imam, if we want to personally, physically meet the Imam. And that is the recitation of Surah Isra, the 17th Surah of the Holy Quran on Laylatul Jum'ah. Ongoing, as much, every Thursday night as you can before the time of Salatul Fajr. Some have written up until the time of Dhuhr, but most of the authoritative that have written about it have said that before the time of Salatul Fajr, so before Subh Sadiq, so on Laylatul Jummah after the time of Isha. What Amal, what Surah? Surah Isra. And Surah Isra starts out, and this is how I'm going to take you on the journey, inshallah. It starts out, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylam min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa alladhi barakna hawlahu linuriyahu min ayatina innahu huwas sami'ul basir. Glorified is the one. Subhanallah, glory be to the one who took his abd, his slave, from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa, barakna hawlahu linuriyahu min ayatina. That in this there is a sign, and this is a precinct that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed and praised, and it is a very, very distinct, special place, and Allah ta'ala is the one who is knowing, He is seeing, He is hearing, He basically, Sami'un Basir. He is the one that hears and sees everything. The commentators, this is a Makki surah, that means it was revealed in the city of Makkah. Those of you who are avid readers of the Quran Majid will know that a majority of the sawar of the Quran, the surahs of the Holy Quran, are Makki surahs, which means that they were revealed in the city of Makkah, and a minority of the surahs are Madani surahs. They were revealed to the Holy Prophet in the city of Medina after the Hijrah had taken place, after the migration. And primarily the Makki surahs talk about usul ad-din, they talk about the principles, they talk about the tawheed, they talk about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the prophethood, the remembrance of the day of judgment, and those aspects that deal with faith, iman. The primary message in the Madani surahs is action. Aqimus salat wa atu zakat, go for hajj, give your khums, give your zakat, and basically a lot of the actions, the judiciary, the laws in Islam, the fiqh aspects, a lot of those are the components of the Madani surah. So this one here that we're talking about today is a Makki surah. And how beautifully you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks to the Prophet or refers to the Prophet, alludes to the Prophet as what? Not as his Habib. In the entire Quran Majid, every prophet that we have talked about in these last few nights, whether it was Adam, whether it was Nuh, whether it was Ibrahim, whether it was Musa, Isa, alayhimus salam, peace be upon them all, they are mentioned numerically more times than Rasulullah. More times than Rasulullah. In fact, the Prophet of Islam, the name of Muhammad, only comes in the Quran Majid how many times? You with me? And if you count Suratul Muhammad, then you have got a total of 5. Every other prophet is mentioned, like the other prophets that we have talked about, more times than the name of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why would that be? The reason is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an important lesson, an important message. If we were to look at our households, if I was to visit one of your homes, and you were talking to your father, for example, or you were talking or addressing your mother, you would say Baba, Father, Papa, whatever you call him, you would say that. And when people come to your house, they would also respect the head of the household. They would say Agha, Sir, Mr., Sayyid, whatever the terminology of respect would be. They would rarely take the name of our elders, especially in there. I would not call my father by his name, obviously. So the Quran is giving us a very important message here, that the same way the head of the household in your own households, in your families, are respected and that you don't take their names, the same way Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is loved and respected by the malaika, by the heavens, and by even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that sometimes he says, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, Ya ayyuhan Nabi, Taha, Sirajum Munir, Yasin. All the titles of the Prophet are used. The name of Muhammad is only used 4 times in the Holy Quran. Salawatu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And so in this surah, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is talking to or alluding to the Holy Prophet as his abd, as his slave. That means that whatever the status of the Holy Prophet, how great he was, how elated and position he was on, even then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that there is a certain benefit, there's a certain blessing, there's a certain honor to being a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why a Muslim, somebody who serves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, struggles to be a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tries to be an abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the Prophet, when he loves somebody is beloved to the Holy Prophet, he says, this is my abd, this is my slave, this is my servant. Now, the Prophet, this verse, the very first ayah of this verse, is talking about a special journey that the Prophet of Islam went on. A journey that is commonly referred to as Mi'raj, the ascension of the Holy Prophet. So that's one of the reasons why today I'm going to need all of your full attention. Of course, every day I'm sure you've been all giving me your full attention. May Allah give you ajr, may Allah bless you for that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about a journey that he took his Prophet on. Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi laylam min al-masjid al-haram ila al-masjid al-aqsa alladhi barakna. Hawlahu linuriyahu. He's showing him the signs, linuriyahu, the signs from his light, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He took his beloved abd in the night, from Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa. Now here, the commentators have a little bit of a discussion. I don't like to say a contradiction, it's a discussion. Some of the commentators believe that Masjid al-Aqsa, the word Aqsa literally means farthest. Very, very far away, the furthest. So some commentators take the meaning to be a masjid in the heavens. Somewhere in the heavens is the masjid called Masjid al-Aqsa, which is far, far away from our dimension, from our world, from our earth here. And that the Prophet, Allah Ta'ala took his Prophet in that place. Some commentators believe that this is talking about Masjid al-Aqsa, which is here in this world, that Nabi Allah in the time of Prophet Sulaiman was built, and that they are saying that this is talking about that place in Bayt al-Muqaddas, in what is present day Al-Quds, and Masjid al-Aqsa is in that place that it's being talked about. Nonetheless, I don't want to get into who might be right, who might not be right. I'm saying that the journey that the Prophet took in either of these two cases would have been a far journey. Somewhere far away. Something that would have been impossible to do in one night. It would have been impossible to do even in a month or even 6 months. At that time, I'm talking about those days. And so, the next day, after Mi'raj, after the Ascension, this was in the month of Rajab that primarily is being talked about. The next day, the Prophet was with Amirul Mu'mineen, and they were there, and the Prophet, some of the companions who were there, the Prophet asked them, informed them that I went on Mi'raj. And then he looks at Amirul Mu'mineen, he looks at Ali ibn Abi Talib, and he says, Ya Ali, do you want to narrate Mi'raj, or should I tell them about Mi'raj? Do you want to talk about the Ascension, or do you want me to talk about the Ascension? Ahsan, Jazakallah khair. Allahumma salli ala Madwa. Now, before I go further on our journey, inshallah, that we're going to be taking just a few minutes. Before I go any further, there is a hadith of Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, in which Mawla mentions that our Shia, our believers, our followers, will believe in 3 things without which they are not a Shia of Ja'far. They are not a Shia of Ahlul Bayt. They can still be a Muslim, but they won't be a Shia. He said the first thing our Shia will believe in is in the sawal, in the questioning of Munkar and Nakir in the grave. The first thing, the Imam says. Our Shia will believe. If you don't believe in it, you're still a Muslim, but you will not be considered as our follower. The second thing the Imam says that our Shia will believe in is in shafa'at, intercession. That on the Day of Judgment, in case if my bad deeds are heavier than my good deeds, inshallah may Allah protect us from that, but I will be sentenced to spend some time in the fire of Jahannam. I will be going towards hellfire. At that time, somebody from the Ahlul Bayt, somebody from the Prophet's family, somebody who is beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, somebody who has got the idhn of Allah, the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It could be an alim, it could be a muttaqi person, a pious person. Whoever it is, they have the ability to do my shafa'at, intercede for me and say, Ya Allah, we know this guy, he's okay, he tried his best, let him go to paradise. So at that time, just before I go to the hellfire, I will be able to go into paradise, inshallah. Now here, shafa'at, intercession, means that we should have tried our best. In his book, Shahid Dasta Ghaib, the alim that I've been referring to on a couple of occasions, Shahid Dasta Ghaib in his book mentions, he says, shafa'at, the belief in intercession, in shafa'at, is not a license to sin. Don't think that the Ahlul Bayt have given license to do whatever you want and we'll take care of you on the Day of Judgment. In fact, there's another hadith of the same Imam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, whereby the Imam says, yes, inshallah, we will do your shafa'at on the Day of Judgment. We will intercede for you, we'll take care of you on the Day of Judgment. But imagine what will happen to you from the time you go into the barzakh, into the grave, up until the Day of Judgment. That is a very horrendous time, it's a horrific time. So be careful, don't think that, it's a license to sin, okay, let me do whatever I want. I'm a Shia of Imam Ja'far, I'm a Shia of Ali, I'm a Shia of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, and so I can do whatever I want. This is almost like the Christian theory that we have in our minds. Okay, somebody's going to save me, so I don't have to worry. No. The Imam says, be worried. Do your best. Then if you fall short, then we'll take care of you. One of the primary aspects of Islam, my sisters and brothers, that you need to, and I need to remember, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge us on our effort, not on the result. How much work did you do? How much effort did you put in? Our judgment will be on the effort, not on the end result. Whether we managed to do what we wanted to do is irrelevant. How much effort we put in to get there. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be judging us for. So the Imam says, the second thing that our Shia will believe is in shafa'at. The third thing that our Shia will believe, Imam Ja'far says alayhi salam, is that they will believe in the physical mi'raj of Rasulullah. They will believe that the Prophet physically went on this journey towards the heavens. And if you look at the books of Mi'raj, Allama Majlisi, in his beautiful book where he mentions in Hayatul Qulub as well as in other references, he talks about the Mi'raj, he talks about so many riwayat and narrations and hadith about what the Prophet went through, what the Prophet saw, how many Anbiya he met, how he led Salatul Jamaat, how he had discussions with Musa and Isa and everyone else, and then he also went to the hell. He also saw what was happening in the hellfire and Jahannam. And so all of this takes place, the Quran says, layli, in a night. But the narrations of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt say there wasn't even a night. It was the blink of a second. The blink of a second. That the Prophet went through all this, had these discussions, went through all of that, and came back in his bed when the blanket was still not even finished moving. You can imagine. So now when the Prophet the next day is telling the companions, I went on Mi'raj, I saw this, I did this and all that. And again, as I said, Allama Majlisi narrates it, and there's so many narrations about Hadith al-Mi'raj. Beautiful episode, beautiful story. And the people who were listening, some of the companions, they had sort of two thoughts. That's why till today, a majority of Muslims believe that the Prophet dreamt he went to Mi'raj. He dreamt that he went on this journey. They don't believe in the physical Mi'raj. They don't believe that his physical body went through all of this. And there was two reasons for that. And I'm coming to that in just a moment. Majority of Muslims say that he just dreamt it. Now you can imagine for a moment, I'm here in Ottawa. My residence where I'm staying is just on Walkley as well, just a few minutes away. Imagine if last night I tell Hajj Ahmad, I say, Hajj, tomorrow I have to go to Kitchener. He says, what? We have a majlis, you know that, right? Yeah, but I'm just going to drive there and I'll come back in a couple of hours. No, if you drive there, what if there's traffic? What if there's this? What if there's that? And let's say I come the day after that. I did everything on time and all that. And I tell him, yeah, I went to Kitchener. I went there, I met my family, I saw the community, I attended a majlis and all that, and I came back here. And he's going to look at me. And if anybody else is sitting there, Sayyid is there, he's also going to be looking at me. That it seems like Brother Shafeeq might have, I think the heat is getting to him now, right? There's no more rain this week, but it must be the heat, right? Hajj Ahmad, right? You'll think that I've lost it. How can you go there and come back, Baba? Take it easy, just sit down, we'll give you some extra water. You want cool water? I'll say, what? He says, it's impossible, Mr. Shafeeq, for you to have gone there, met with the people, attended the majlis there, and come back here in order to be on time. Okay, but now if I tell you, I dreamt I went to Kitchener. I dreamt I went to Kitchener and went to the Hussainiya there, to the masjid there, and to the center, and then he'll sigh of relief. Brother Muhammad, who was our MC, and Hajj Yusuf, I said, okay. Dream, you can dream as much as you want, brother. You can dream as much as you want. No one's going to stop you from the dream. But just don't try it, please. Don't try it, because we have a majlis here. People are waiting. People want to attend. So this was the reason why one group of people who were already a minority, remember Muslims were the minority, they said that, the Prophet maybe is not really telling us everything properly, so we will write in our books of hadith that the Prophet dreamt Mi'raj. He dreamt he went in one night. That was one group. And what we're going to do is, from a scientific and an astronomical point of view, we're going to explain something tonight. One group said that the Prophet didn't go on Mi'raj physically because it was impossible. It probably is impossible. Does anybody sitting here who's good with geography know the distance between, say for example, Ottawa Airport and London, England Airport, Heathrow Airport? The distance? Yeah? Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. 5,990 kilometers, give or take. 3,500 some miles. 5,900, just under 6,000 kilometers from Ottawa. Toronto is like the center of the universe, right? That's what they think, right? If anybody's a Torontonian here, forgive me. I'm not sure. I don't want to upset anybody on my last couple of nights. If you go from Ottawa to London, it is 6,000, just under kilometers. Now come with me, about 150 years ago, before airplanes were common and all that, if somebody wanted to go from here, from Ottawa to London, they would have to go from Ottawa by horseback, horse and buggy, all the way towards Halifax, and from Halifax they would take a boat from here to London, England. So getting from here to Halifax and then a boat, the whole journey might take you maybe 5 or 6 months, approximately. And then the Industrial Revolution came. They called them the Iron Horse. You know what's the Iron Horse? The locomotive, the train. So the train made that journey a little faster. Instead of going on horse and buggy, the locomotive, the Iron Horse or the train could get you from Ottawa to Halifax in a much faster time than the horse and buggy would take. And then the boats became faster, the boats were bigger, the boats were more efficient. As long as you weren't on the Titanic, you could have made that journey in a matter of maybe 2 months altogether. Then comes the Industrial Revolution, going to a higher level, and the birth of the airplane. And the Americans think that they invented everything, right? They invented the internet, they invented, everything and anything. I don't want to talk about the current president right now, it's not my worth time to waste on that. But they think they invented the internet, they invented this, they invented that. They think they invented the airplane. The airplane, those of you who have heard of Abbas ibn Firnas, will know that Baghdad airport is actually named after him. He was the first one to see and to try this flight opportunity or effort, and poor guy, he got hurt really badly, but alhamdulillah he tried. And he was the first one to try and go basically lighter than air and make that journey initially. And so the airplane was born eventually because for thousands of years, people were looking at the sky. They were looking at the birds. They were looking at the birds flying around from here to there. They were wishing what? We wish we could fly. And it took somebody the stamina and the research and the ability to be able to say, okay, you know what? We're going to put this into practice. So the airplane was born, and the first aircraft would make this journey from Ottawa to London, England in approximately 12 to 15 hours. Initial jets. And then we saw that the main companies, the airplane manufacturing companies decided that, okay, you know what, instead of having to refuel, we'll have tanks that'll be big enough. And today the normal journey can be done in about 6.5 hours. And if you remember the Concorde, some of you might remember, my youngsters probably don't remember what the Concorde was, it's marhoom, we'll do a Fatiha for it afterwards. Concorde, the fastest plane in its era. All the elders are going, yeah, we know the Concorde. I don't think any of us sitting here ever flew on the Concorde. But it was a plane that could go from London to New York, or we could have gone from Ottawa to New York in 3.5 hours. Now, my sisters and brothers, my elders and my youngsters, the distance 150 years ago between Ottawa and London was still 6,000 kilometers or no? Was it any different 200 years ago? It was the same as it is today. And don't talk to me about continental drift. That's a whole different issue altogether, okay? I know you're going to tell me continental drift, maybe a couple of inches a year. Yeah, a couple of inches a year. But the overall distance between London and Ottawa was still 6,000 kilometers, give or take, 150 years ago and today. But what happened 150 years ago? It would take 6 months. And then it took 3 months. And then it took 18 hours or 15 hours. And then it took 7 hours. And then the Concorde could do it in 3.5 hours. Does everybody in this community hall, in this masjid of Imam Ali, believe that a time might come when that journey might be made even faster than 3.5 hours? Do you believe it? The technology is advancing phenomenally fast. If you do agree, then recite one loud salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, please. You will say that the distance is the same, but the mode of transportation has changed. And so if insan, the human being, can create modes of transportation that can cause that journey to be done much faster, then imagine the Khaliq, the creator of insan, who wants to take his abd, his beloved Muhammad, on a journey in a matter of a second, can take him to the heavens and the sky and bring him back in a matter of a second. The abd he is taking, the creator of insan. We insan have created so much. We as human beings have made so many advancements. Imagine Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, what he cannot do when he wants to do something and take his abd. So the answer, the dilemma of one group of Muslims is, alhamdulillah, answered. We know that they may not have understood in those days how time and space works. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us an opportunity to understand things that they would not have been able to understand. We see it in front of our lives. We see it opening up in front of us today, mashallah, mashallah. And so the people would not have been able to even imagine a journey like that to have been made. Imam says what? Imam had told us, remember at the beginning? Imam says, believe in it. Because one of the things that when Imam al-Hujjah returns is that he will have access to all technology, things that are not even imaginable by you and I today. The riwayat and the hadith mentioned that Imam Sahib al-Amr, Imam al-Hujjah, will be sitting in Kufa and he will know what's happening around the world. Today, look at you, we've got in your hands your cell phones, your smartphones and your laptops, and your Google Earth can tell you what's happening in any part of the world. The Imam says, believe in it. Believe that this happened. Otherwise, why would the Imam care what we believe? My belief is between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam says that no, we want our followers, we want our Shia to be ahead with the technology, to be ahead of the technology. Because when Imam al-Hujjah returns, you will need to have that. You will need to have it. Tomorrow we'll go into a bit of depth on that. Now, there was a second group. Remember I said, when the Prophet asked Ali, do you want to talk about Mi'raj or shall I? There was a group who were allergic to Ali ibn Abi Talib. You understand what I'm saying, huh? There was a group who were allergic. And they said to the Prophet, what? You went on Mi'raj or did Ali go on Mi'raj? And so they tried to create doubts in the people. And today we can understand things of why the Prophet did what he did and why the Prophet said what he did and gave the status to Imam Ali that he did. We understand this today. Have you ever seen the space shuttle launches, and either on a TV, on a YouTube or something? The shuttle launches, have you ever seen them? Do you know where the shuttles launch from? There's a place in eastern USA that is known as Cape Canaveral. And that's where these shuttles launch from. The ones that do, the ones that don't explode, the ones that make it. Don't want to go into details on that either. But they launch from there. And I used to be very interested in astronomy, in the study of the sciences of space, not astrology, astronomy. I want you to understand the difference. And so the space shuttle goes from there, and as it's going around the Earth, it's doing the circumference of the Earth, and it's in orbit and everything. There's a place that is monitoring what is happening there with that space shuttle, with that satellite, with that rocket, whatever it is. And that place is known as Mission Control. And that is based in a place called Houston in Texas. So the shuttle launches from one side, Mission Control is monitoring it. And Mission Control knows exactly what is happening in that rocket, in that shuttle, to the extent that if one of the astronauts burps, they can hear it in Mission Control. They know the temperature in Mission Control. They know exactly what's happening in there. They know the heat, whatever. Basically, whatever they are experiencing, Mission Control is experiencing. So a lot of times I used to be really interested in this, and like I said, that was my passion, just my interest. And I was looking at this launch, and I was looking at that rocket going up, and I was looking at what was happening in Mission Control, and I was trying to find something. I was trying to look for the wire. I was trying to look for the wire between Mission Control in Houston and the shuttle and the rocket and that spaceship. And I couldn't find a wire. I couldn't see a wire. I was looking very carefully. Couldn't see it. The youngsters come and tell me, Sheikh, you were born long ago, weren't you? I said, yeah, what's up? These youngsters, these children, they come and tell me, you don't understand. Mission Control and the shuttle that is up there, they have communication, and they are having a different way, a different mode of communicating. I said, what's that mode? They say that there are light waves that are emitting messages, emitting these notes as to what is happening there and here. So they know what is happening here without any wires, Mr. Shafeeq, Brother Shafeeq. No, it doesn't happen with any wires. It is radio waves, light waves. Now, I didn't understand light waves. I don't understand all of this, technology. All I remember was somebody telling me that if you want to translate these light waves and light from English into Arabic, it is called Noor. Sahih? هذا اللغة الصحيح إن شاء الله. It is called Noor. Light waves are emitting from here and there. I only understood when I read the hadith of the Prophet. أَوَّلَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ نُورِي. The first thing Allah Ta'ala created was my light. Then the Prophet immediately right after that says, أَنَا وَعَلِيٌّ مِن نُورٍ وَاحِدٍ. Me and Ali are from one light. One part of the light was on Mi'raj. One part of the light was on Mission Control. Ali knew what was happening there. Rasulullah knew what was happening on earth. Salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Without any wires, it is light that is transmitting. It is light that we are believing in. And that is why the Prophet says, Ana wa aliyun min nurin wahid. Me and Ali are from the same light. He will know what's happening with me, and I will know what is happening with him. This is the maqam of Ali alayhi salam. The maqam of Ali with Rasulullah alayhi salam. So Ahsan, Jazakallah khair. Allahumma salli. So both dilemmas were answered with today's science and technology, with today what we see around us. Now how beautiful the journey of the Prophet must have been to have gone to the heavens, to have gone on Mi'raj. Ya Allah, I wish we could go on Mi'raj as well. Ya Allah, I wish I could go as well. I wish I could go there. Qala Rasulullahi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, said the Holy Prophet, As-salatu mi'rajul mu'min. Every single day, each and every one of us sitting here, 5 times each and every day, are getting an opportunity to go on an ascension as well, to go higher and higher as well. The Prophet says every day, As-salatu mi'rajul mu'min. The salat that you recite, the prayers that you recite, that salat is your mi'raj, is your ascension towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does mi'raj mean? What does the ascension mean? The ascension reminds us that the higher you go. Has anybody been on an airplane here? Anybody? No? Okay, one person. Okay. Oh, maybe 3 people. The rest of you, inshallah, one day will go on an airplane. And when you go higher and higher on that airplane, you look outside, what do you see? When you're first taking off, you only see the airport of Ottawa. When you go 2,000-3,000 feet, you see the whole airport, not just the runway. When you go higher and higher, you might be able to see your house, maybe a few cars, but they look like tiny, tiny matchbox cars. They are not even visible. If I ask you at 5,000 or 10,000 feet to show me your house, you won't be able to show me. What that means is that the higher we go, the closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we go. The higher we go, the less these little things will mean to us. The less these little matters will mean to us. It will not matter who is black and who is white, who is this ethnicity, who is that ethnicity, who is this person, who is that person. We will see the bigger picture. The way the higher an airplane goes, we see the whole of Ontario, we see the whole city of Ottawa. The higher we go, these little things won't matter. So as-salatu mi'rajul mu'min means as soon as we say takbiratul ihram, as soon as we say Allahu Akbar, and we believe Allah is the greatest, we will realize that we have to look at the bigger picture, not look at these little things that are insignificant. Salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Every day we get this opportunity. How high we want to go is up to us. We will determine it. And that is why Assalamu alayka ya waritha Muhammadin Habiballah. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Amir al-Mu'mineen Waliyallah. In Karbala, Imam Hussein was representing Amir al-Mu'mineen and the Prophet. The Prophet's beauty and message and legacy was such that every night that I have been in front of you, I have recited the same ayah of the Holy Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمُوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. Tomorrow I will give you a summation as to why I did that, inshallah, if I am alive till then. The Prophet wanted the Ummah to realize the value of what his message was. The Ummah, some of them realized it. And they owed that debt of gratitude to the Holy Prophet. When Imam was leaving the city of Medina, one group came to the Holy Imam, came to Abu Abdullah and says, we understand, you have to go. We know you'll be giving your life, Mawla. But leave one person behind. Leave Ali al-Akbar behind. The reason was, Ali Akbar resembled the Holy Prophet. More than anybody else in Bani Hashim, Ali Akbar resembled the Holy Prophet. And these people, these companions told the Imam, whenever we long to see the Prophet, whenever we miss the Prophet, whenever we remember Rasulullah, we would come and see Ali Akbar, and it was as if we did the ziyarat of Rasulullah. Leave him behind, please. Imam Hussein tells them that he also has a job to play. He has a role to fulfill on the plains of Karbala. I will need him on the plains of Karbala. They were all disheartened because when they would look at Ali Akbar, they would see Rasulullah. When they heard the voice of Ali Akbar, when they heard the adhan of Ali Akbar, they would remember Ali Murtada. They would remember Ali Murtada. When they would call him, they would remember Ali alayhi salam. That's why if you look at history, if you look at the life of Abu Abdullah, all of his sons were named Ali because the reminder of his father. All of his daughters were named Fatima. Fatima Sugra, Fatima Kubra, Fatima Mutawasita. so that the memory of his mother and father would never be forgotten. On the plains of Karbala, Allahu Akbar. The Masahib of Ali Akbar is a very difficult Masahib to narrate because of the fact that not only he resembled Rasulullah, not only the people when they saw him onto the battlefield, when he came onto the battlefield, people actually thought Rasulullah has left Medina and they thought Rasulullah has come on to Karbala to help Hussein. Only after he spoke did they realize that this is not Rasulullah, this is the grandson of Rasulullah. This is Ali Akbar, the son of Hussein. When Ali Akbar would repeatedly come and ask for permission, the Imam would give him the permission. But after someone, another family member, somebody else would go. Finally, when most of them had been shaheed, had been martyred, and Hazrat Ali Akbar comes to his father, Imam says to him that, I had wanted you to go before as well. Hazrat Ali Akbar tells them that every time I would go, either some of the children would come and hold me behind, or the ladies would say, no, we will send Aoun and Muhammad, we will send Qasim, somebody or another would go in front. They didn't want Ali Akbar to be going to the battlefield. Allahu Akbar. Then the Imam finally agrees and says, go get permission from your Aunt Zainab. Go to your Aunt Zainab and get permission from her. When Ali Akbar goes to the camp, goes to the tent of Hazrat Zainab Salamullahi alayha to get the permission, before he even says anything, before he even asks anything, she immediately has tears in her eyes and she goes, Ali Akbar, I know why you have come. I sent my children. All of the ladies sent their children hoping that we could somehow save you. But we know that you also have to go on to the plains of Karbala. She reluctantly gives him permission. Hazrat Ali Akbar comes back to the Imam. And as he is now going, Imam gets him ready. Imam boards him on the horse. As he is going, Imam Hussein is still following him. Ali Akbar can hear the voice, the footsteps of the Imam. He looks back and what does he see? The elderly father is coming step by step. But those steps are taken with great difficulty. Ali Akbar says, Baba, you have let me go. Why are you still following me? Imam Hussein says, if you had a child, if you had a young youth like Ali Akbar, you would know what Hussein is going through. Ali Akbar goes onto the battlefield. He fights valiantly. He sends numerous members of the army of Umar as-Sadiq Mal'un to Jahannam. And he comes back and he says to his father, Baba, if there was any chance of getting water, I would be able to fight even better than that. Imam Hussein tells him, Ali Akbar, inshallah your grandfather Ali will give you the water from the Hawd of Kawthar. Ali Akbar goes back to the battlefield. Again he's fighting valiantly. Hasin ibn Namir al-Mal'un, he fires, he throws a spear. The spear goes into the chest of Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar falls from the... Ali Akbar falls from the horse and he calls out to his Baba, but in a unique way. He doesn't say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah ya Abati. He says, Alayka minni salam. Alayka minni salam means that a response is not required because he knew that the father will not be able to respond. When Imam Hussein with great difficulty reaches the place where Ali Akbar has fallen and he sees the spear hanging out from the chest of Ali Akbar, he is trying to gently take the spear out. The pain is causing great agony to Ali Akbar. Mawla Hussein, Mawla Aba Abdullah looks towards Najaf and he says, Baba Ali, oh my father Ali, the whole world calls you Mushkil Khusha. The whole world, when they have a difficulty, they call you. Today, Hussein is calling you to help him on the plains of Karbala, to remove the spear from this young youth, my son. A voice comes, Zakir mentions in his book of Maqtal, in his book of Masaib, he mentions a voice was heard from Najaf. a voice was heard from Najaf, "O Hussein, O Hussein, Ali was able to lift the door of Khaybar, but Ali will not be able to remove this spear from the chest of Ali Akbar." Imam Hussein notices that Ali Akbar is holding on to his chest where the tip of the spear was. Imam is telling him, "Move your hand." Ali Akbar doesn't move his hand. Imam says, "Please move your hand. I want to remove the spear, this head of the spear from your chest." Ali Akbar is reluctant. Finally, Imam moves it gently but with a bit of force. What does the Imam see? Why was Ali Akbar holding on? Because as soon as the Imam moved the hand of Ali Akbar, a gush of blood came out, and Ali Akbar left this world. Imam Hussein goes, "Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un." Ali Akbar has been martyred on the plains of Karbala. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ راجعون. May Allah Ta'ala accept our azadari. May Allah accept our participation in this majlis as our tribute to Hazrat Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha. Oh Allah, those who are ill, grant them shifa from their illnesses. Those who are suffering in any way, hasten the downfall of the oppressors and grant the mustazafin a speedy victory. Ya Allah, we ask you, we beg you to return our Mawla Imam al-Hujjah to us. Make us amongst the ashab and the ansar of the Imam. Let us see Zamana al-Dhuhur with our own eyes, and the ulama, the maraja, the mujtahideen, the waliya faqih who are serving while the Imam is in occultation. Grant them a long, healthy life and safety and the security from all the dhulm that is around them all, inshallah. If we can have one recitation of one Surah Fatiha preceded by a salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahim Malik Yawmiddin. Na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim.
Barakallah bikum Sheikh Shafeeq, Jazakumullahu anna khaira jaza. Brothers and sisters, tomorrow inshallah 6 p.m. sharp, Samahat al-Sheikh Shafeeq Huda will start reciting Masra al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam wa sahbihi al-awfiya. Tomorrow inshallah 6 p.m. sharp. Barakallahu bikum wa bikunna. 5 minutes break and our Arabic program will start inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.